I've often called the 529 plan the Roth IRA, but for college, well, thanks to some new rules, they've effectively made that so, and it forces a planning decision. Should you overfund? Does it make sense to overfund your 529 plan as actual seed money for your child's Roth IRA? That big decision can make a lot of sense. I've got that idea and more coming up. If the circumstances are right, does it make sense to overfund a 529 plan and use it as seed money for your child's future Roth IRA contributions? Guys, thanks to the new 529 to Roth IRA transfer, which came on the scene a couple of years ago, but still so new, many people haven't done it. It's really got to force this intentional, proactive planning decision. How the rule works is there's a lot of red tape here, but a 529 plan that you own for a child within the 529 plan, that child is called a beneficiary. So whose benefit is this money set aside for? Is this account for? You can transfer up to $35,000 from that child's 529 plan to their Roth IRA, not all at once. If only it was that easy, but $35,000 over their lifetime. Okay. What are the tricks? Well, there's a lot of them. That lifetime limit, that's one. Second is the 529 plan has to be in existence for at least 15 years, okay? The the money that you transfer from the 529 to the Roth, it's got to be money that you contributed at least 5 years before. So this is not a sort of a 11th hour sort of strategy, last ditch effort sort of strategy. It's got to be contributions from at least 5 years ago. And then that transfer is only up to that annual Roth IRA contribution limit, not to exceed it. So basically the transfer sort of counts as your contribution for that year. So that's how this new 529 to Roth transfer really works. And it begs the question, okay, if this money, this 529 money that was set aside for your child's college, maybe your grandchild's college, does it make sense to say, you know what, let's overfund this thing, or let's limit how much we withdraw so that we can then divert some of this money from their 529 plan to their Roth IRA. Now, I've shared before, you may have caught it, that one of my roommates in college, his father, by the time that I was in the second half of my college career, I knew this was a calling to get into personal finance and help people make wise financial decisions. And so I was having some of those discussions with, my roommates and my friends, and of course, friends' parents as well. And so my roommate's dad gave him the advice, and he graduated a semester before I did. I don't care what you do financially, but you need to max out your Roth IRA every single year. That's what his dad told him. And these Roth IRAs, you might say, well, that's fantastic advice. And Mike, sounds like something you would say. You're right. Yep, I love that idea. The problem is this was in 2002, maybe 2003, and the Roth IRA had been around for a few years, but no one was really using it. No one really knew its potential. And so guess what happened? He didn't do it. I think he did it his first year, but he didn't do it. Why? Because he moved, right? And needed to get an apartment and was, trying to build his career. And guess what? Then he changed jobs. And so he had to start over financially. Then he moved again. And then he met a girl and got engaged. And they eventually got married. And guess what? They moved again. Then he switched careers again. Life happened. That's a different way of saying life happened. When you are building your financial life in those kind of early years, your mid-20s to mid-30s, there is a lot going on in your finances, and you're trying to build a foundation. So with fantastic advice delivered at the exact right time, my friend didn't do it, okay? So therefore, let's get back to this new rule, 529 to Roth. If you have the resources, if you have the means, and if you have the goal, the vision of helping your kids get a head start financially, could it make sense? Would it make sense to overfund their 529 plan, and then you have them or use those dollars and fill up their Roth IRA in the early years of their career? Or do you say, well, if I'm going to overfund that, I'll just keep the money, and then when they start and they get in their life, then I'll just gift them that money and have them contribute to the Roth. That can work as well. But given the choice, guys, I would overfund that 529 plan. And yeah, there's a little bit of complexity to it, but a very, very clear reason why I would overfund that 529 plan, again, with the right proactive planning strategy. Why? Because of one of the rules that I mentioned. the 529 plan, the money that can transfer from your 529 to your Roth is only contributions and the growth of contributions that were made 5 years before that time period. So what does that mean? Likely there's growth. Likely there is tax sheltered or tax deferred growth that's already built up in the 529 plan. And the best part, guys, when you do this 529 to Roth transfer, you can transfer the growth and it's not taxable. As it comes out of the 529 plan, you don't pay tax on the growth, as if, right, you're pulling dollars out of your 529 plan and you're using it for a non-qualified educational expense, then you would pay tax on the growth and even a penalty as well. With this Roth transfer, 529 to Roth transfer, that growth that's never been taxed gets moved over to the Roth IRA and never gets taxed again. Therefore, if you have the financial means, the financial resources to overfund a 529 plan, or better yet, guys, you fund it appropriately and then help your child take on some of the responsibility and have them start working and start paying for some of their college expenses. I've shared before, there's no one way or right way to do this. One idea is that you've got the resources there to help, but then you get them to, you start paying your rent and you start paying your room and board, right? Have the child take over that responsibility. That's going to help them transition very well into their adulthood and their finances after college. But you've got the resources there. They've paid for it out of pocket. And then you surprise them with, well, great news. I'm going to help you fund that Roth IRA for the first several years, for the first, 4 to 5 years of your career. And you might say, well, wait a second. If I'm doing that, am I sort of robbing them of that suffering and the sacrifice and the priority to build that habit? Because what do you want? I want my kids, at least from a financial perspective, I want them to build the habit of saving. There's so much good that comes from that. Not just, that building the financial independence and getting started early, but it does so much more for your finances. Likely, as they start their career, there's going to be more opportunities to save than they will have resources to do so. Therefore, especially with the Roth, you might say, but I don't want to I don't want to rob the ability for them to contribute to the Roth. Likely they're going to have a job where they're going to have a Roth 401k available to them. And again, those contribution limits right now for 2026, $24,500 a year, likely they're not going to have enough resources to hit that maximum. Therefore, they can direct their contributions to the Roth 401k. You can direct it to the Roth IRA from your 529 plan. But this only works with a powerful vision, the right planning, creative approach, working with your certified financial planner, and looking at all 6 areas of your financial life together, right? Present financial position with tax planning, with investment planning, even estate planning and retirement planning. Guys, this touches almost all 6 areas of your financial life. And if you do it, right, if this makes sense for your situation, it can save thousands of dollars of taxes, dare I say even tens of thousands over your lifetime, even your kid's lifetime. Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.